Good evening, good evening, and welcome to another of our live podcasts. I'm your boy Rolando with XY Spark. I do hope that you guys have been enjoying the nice summer weather. And wherever you are around the world, we want to continue to tell you that we appreciate you taking the time to like and subscribe and become patrons of our podcast as we continue to present you with encouragement and counsel and you know seek to support the cause of promoting healthy masculinity. And that's what we continue to do here at XY Spark. We want to take this time also to recognize our fathers as we draw closer to Father's Day. Father's Day is Sunday, June 20th. And I just wanted to recognize all our fathers wherever you are. I just want to say to you, keep doing the great job that you are doing. Continue to provide that space for your family, for your kids, and just be the best dad that you can be. Because when you do your best, that's all that you can do. And believe it or not, doing your best is what you do as a father. And so, this coming Sunday in our community here in Northern Alberta, the Fort McMurray community to be exact, we will be having a men's mental health awareness march. Not only will this march be taking place in the Fort McMurray community, but we also want to acknowledge those in Rocky Mountain House who will be participating in the march at the same time. And there are some places around Toronto that will be engaged in this march as well as the Edmonton area. And so, wherever you are, we want to just continue to remind you that our goal and our aim is to make this an annual event. And this is the first year of our program here at XY Spark, where we continue to promote healthy masculinity and good mental health for men. And so look out for it. You can like and subscribe to our Facebook page at XY Spark. You can see our reels on Instagram. You can see our videos on TikTok and Twitter. Look for our tweets every now and again as we continue to promote healthy masculinity. This evening, I wanted to have a conversation with you, and our topic is a little bit uh, unfamiliar but yet very practical. Our topic is: are men allowed to be human or just a man? Are men allowed to be human or just a man? This topic came about from my own contemplation as I continue to engage with men in the community, and as I continue to seek to provide supports. I asked this question this evening because I would really be interested in hearing from our listeners. So, if you're not tuned into this live podcast this evening, and if you are downloading this later today or this week, I would like you to comment. Send us a comment, email us, or send us a message on our Facebook page as it relates to this question: are men allowed to be human or just a man? Just want you to know that our goal and our aim is to continue to promote healthy masculinity. So let us have a talk this evening. Do you think it's okay for a man to be human? And what are the characteristics that we use to identify a man which is separate and apart from a human being? So I would love to hear from you. You can email us at Hyman, that's Harry Yankee, Hyman at xyspark, xyspark.info. Email us in response to this question: are men allowed to be human or just a man? In our community today and in our society, it is very, very, very important for us, for men, to be men. And there are some expectations that comes along with that. Some of them may be very, very, very on point, while some of them may be very, very out of sync and unrealistic. However, as men, we have found ourselves caught in a whirlpool that is dictated by society, dictated by culture, and dictated by the media. And so, if we are not following through with all those requirements that are that uses these different influential places as the backdrop, then we are going to continually struggle to fit in to this mold of what it means to be a man. So, for you, what does it mean to be a man? Is it just a matter of gender? What does it mean to be a man? Is it just a matter of being chiseled, being erotic, being emotionally unstable? What does it mean to be a man? Does it mean to not display emotions? What does it mean to be a man? Does it mean there is a refusal or there is a resistance to speak about feelings, to acknowledge pain, to acknowledge grief, to acknowledge those areas where we are most vulnerable? Is that what it means to be a man? To not display what society projects as being a weakness? So, are you just a man or are you human? Now, I chose these words because do you notice that the last portion of the word human is man and the first portion is hue, meaning man somehow is a part of the foundation of what it means to be human. But many of us want to be man, but we are not allowing ourselves to be human. We are separating what I want to call the main attributes of what it means to be a man. So, how do we recognize the value of combining the two? You see, if we want to be just man, it means we're separating the reality that we're also human. If we're not recognizing the importance of what it means to be human, it means then that we are somehow trying to detach from that which we are originally. We are allowed to be human. How ironic it is that we have drifted away from the reality that my first responsibility, my first responsibility is not to be a man. My first responsibility is not to seek to be the best dad. It's not to seek to be the best partner, the best lover. It's not to seek to be the guy that has the most wealth, the most muscle. It's not to seek to be the guy who has the best look or is able to look the best. My first responsibility is not to be arrogant. My first responsibility is not even to be a father, but to be human. So I would like you to challenge yourself and ask yourself, what have I been doing that has caused me to drift so far away from my origin of being a human? Am I telling myself things that's causing me to be distracted from my reality? For example, some of the things that we tell ourselves are things like, that's just the way I am. I don't know any better. That's how my dad did it. That's how I was raised. I don't want to be a burden. I don't want anyone to think I'm weak. What will people think about me if I did that? I got this. I can do this on my own. I don't need anybody. What emotions are you talking about? I don't have time for that. I'm not a sissy. I'm not weak. So we feed ourselves. We drink at these cisterns that's poisoned by the cultural norms that has kept us as a community, as a society, has kept us as men from growing because we have thoughts that are anchored in a mentality that is crippling our ability to be the best version of ourselves. So I would want to put a challenge out there to all my listeners, all the men that are listening, and even the women that are listening to this. If if you have a partner who is struggling with his identity, who is struggling with an addiction, who is making excuses why he should continue to harm himself and overindulge in different activities that are harming his emotional, psychological health, whether it is using drugs excessively, or you might be married to a man who is struggling with alcohol. I'm saying that I would like you to direct him to listen to this podcast so that he can recognize that his first responsibility is not to be a man, but to be human. And being human means that you've got to be okay to reach out for professional support if that's what you need. You've got to be okay to recognize what your limitations are. That's what it means to be human. You've got to acknowledge emotions. You've got to be okay and recognize and and identify pain when it is occurring. You've got to be brutally honest with yourself and seek to reach out and receive the help. Help is available. And so being human is also recognizing that you have some limitations. Not only recognizing it, but being okay with having those limitations as you continue to develop a mindset that is going to help you to grow. Remember, based on what one of my mentors said years ago, life is not static, it's dynamic. And so it's your responsibility to capture the essence of what it means to grow, of what it means to be human, of what it means to be vulnerable, and to overcome those desires and to overcome those thoughts that are crippling and disabling and keeping you from growing and becoming the best version of yourself. So, this is a powerful lesson to be learned that I would encourage all of my listeners, every male, wherever you are, you may be in Canada or the United States, you may be in Europe, you may be in Asia, you may be in Africa, you may be somewhere in the Caribbean. I want you to challenge yourself and ask yourself, what would it look like if I allowed myself to be human? And being human is recognizing that you are not just a physical creature, but you're also an emotional and spiritual creature. An acknowledgement of that will open you up to new growth and new opportunities that will take you to heights unknown. And so, are men allowed to be human or just a man? I want to say this to you guys. You are allowed to be human, and being human is the essence of what it means to be a man. Don't separate the two, because to separate the two is to forget about who you are, is to forget about what your origins look like, and is to forget the true meaning of what it means to be a man. So being human is being vulnerable with your kids. Being human is talking about those feelings with your partner. Being human is asking for help. Being human is challenging cultural beliefs and cultural curses. Being human is allowing yourself to get out there and say to yourself, I am going to allow myself to be taught and I'm going to present as teachable so that I can grow and become more savvy. So, guys, listen, this is your boy Rolando. I continue to encourage you to go out there and be human. And when you allow yourself to be human, you'll be surprised to see that life will change, your outlook will change, your body language will change, the way you see life will change, and you will develop a pattern and you'll develop insight to become a force to reckon with. As usual, this is your boy Orlando XY Smart, who continues to encourage you and to reiterate the fact that there is a spark in you.
Please join Rolando next time on XY Spark as he engages us in practical discussions that promotes healthy masculinity and challenge men to live extraordinary lives. At XY Spark, we believe the key for happier families is restoring healthy masculinity.